he was charged with the murder of 3 women, committed in California between 1987 and 1989. Found guilty, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. In early 2019, the FBI released a collection of 16 of those drawings. We are hoping that someone, family member, former neighbor, or friend, might recognize the victim and provide a crucial clue in helping authorities make an identification, FBI spokeswoman Shane Buckworth said in a statement at the time. We want to give these women their names back and their families some long-awaited answers. It's the least we can do. Later that year, the FBI shared several videos of Little providing detail on more victims in an effort to seek justice for each victim. Samuel Little is said to have committed nearly 16 confirmed murders, but the figure could go as high as 19. Alpha G. Gaynor is an American serial killer and rapist who committed a series of 9 murders in the city of Springfield, Massachusetts from 1995 to 1998. In early April 1995, he started with Vera Hallam's 45 room. He asked her to spend the night in her apartment. In the middle of the night, Gaynor attacked the sleeping woman, binding her and beating her. Hallam subsequently died of brain injury. After her death, he robbed the corpse and allegedly robbed her apartment before disappearing. On June 50, 1997, Gaynor met drug addict Gillian Emalini, 34, near his home. After luring the woman to a parking lot under the pretext of selling his drug, he attacked her, strangling and raping her before hiding her body in a truck. On October 24, Gaynor met another drug addict, Robin N. Atkins, 29. After consuming cocaine together, Gaynor attacked Atkins in one of the downtown alleys, where he beat and raped her, and then strangled. On October 31, Gaynor met 38-year-old Joanne C. Thomas, who agreed to provide him with sexual service in exchange for drugs. And in his apartment after the hack, Gaynor allegedly strangled Thomas, leaving in fingerprints and semen at the crime scene. 2 weeks later, on November 14, Gaynor visited his longtime girlfriend Yvette Torres, 33, while they were abusing alcohol and drugs together. Gaynor attacked Torres late in the evening, during which he strangled her. On February 1, 1998, Gaynor went to a drug house to buy narcotics. There he reportedly met Loretta Daniels, 38, who agreed to have sex with him in exchange for drugs. Gaynor strangled Daniels in an alleyway, after which he performed a sexual act on his corpse, leaving traces of semen. Gaynor returned on February 10 to the same drug house in an attempt to trade CDs for crack cocaine. In the evening, he met Rosemary Downs, 42, a drug addict prostitute. After meeting Gaynor, the two went to Downs' apartment, both drugged. Gaynor raped her, tying Downs and gagged her. She later died of suffocation. On February 18, Gaynor strangled Joyce Dickerson P., 37. The day after the murder, her daughter went to the police to report her missing. During the investigation, witnesses said that before he went missing, Dickerson spent time with Gaynor and two other girls who were using crack cocaine. Gaynor was detained and questioned on February 27. During this interrogation, a blood sample was taken from him and he was nonetheless released. Since Dickerson's body was not found at the time, his corpse was finally found on March 11. Biological traces of the killer were found on the body and based on the DNA profiling results. Gaynor's involvement in the deaths of Rosemary Downs and Joyce Dickerson was confirmed, and Gaynor was arrested again on April 10. Arthur Shawcross is an American serial killer, also known as the Killer Genesee River or the Strangler of Rochester, New York. In May 1972, Shawcross raped and murdered the 10-year-old boy Jack Owen Blake after luring him into the woods. 4 months later, he raped and killed Karen Ann Hill, an 8-year-old girl who was visiting Wavertown with her mother for Labor Day weekend. Arrested for this crime, Shawcross admits to having committed them. By virtue of criminal transaction, he reveals where he hid Jack's body. On October 17, he was allowed to plead guilty to a lesser charge of first-degree manslaughter for both deaths and was sentenced to an indeterminate term with a maximum of 25 years at Attica. Shawcross served 14 and a half years in prison and was released in April 1997. He claimed responsibility for both murders and after being granted parole for the first time following the conviction for the murder of these two children, which led to criticism of the U.S. justice system. In March 1998, Shawcross resumed killed mainly prostitutes in the neighborhood where he lives. Before his capture less than 2 years later, he is convicted of 11 murders with one not officially attributed to him. Glenn Edward Rogers, also known as the cross-country killer or the Casanova killer, is an American serial killer. He has been convicted as 2 murders and is a suspect in numerous others across the states, including being mentioned by Los Angeles County investigators as a possible alternative suspect to O.J. Simpson in the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. On January 10, 1994, police recovered the remains of Mark Peters, 71, a retired electrician and veteran, from a cabin owned by Glenn Rogers' family in Beattyville, Kentucky. Subsequently, Mark Peters was reported missing with his car and several valuables, including antiques, guns, and coin collection. Rogers was also missing, and it was his brother Clay who allegedly led the police to search the family cabin for clothes, which led to the discovery of Peter's skeleton, which was found strapped to a chair and covered with a pile of furniture. On September 28, 1995, Sandra Gallagher, 33, a mother of three, crossed paths with Rogers at Marquette's Bar in Van Nuys, California. The next day, Gallagher's strangled and severely burned corpse was found in his car near Rogers' apartment. Authorities say that after murdering Gallagher, Rogers moved to Mississippi, Louisiana, and Florida, killing one woman in each state. Linda Price was the next victim. Kathy Carroll, Price's sister, said Price met Rogers in a beer tent at the Mississippi State Fair. Rogers and Price briefly shared an apartment in Jackson, Mississippi. The last time Carroll saw his sister was the night before Halloween 1995. The next day, Price didn't answer her door and Rogers was gone. As with the other murders, Price and Rogers met over a drink like the other woman. Price was in his 30s and had her red hair. She was found dead in the tub. Then it was Tina Marie Cribb's turn. On November 5, 1995, Cribbs was still living the Showtown bar in Gibsontown, Florida with Rogers. A bartender told police Rogers bought drink from Cribbs and his friends. 2 days later, a Tampa motel cleaning staff discovered Cribbs' body in a tub. Like Price in Mississippi, she had been stabbed in the chest and buttock. Then, Andy Giles Sutton was known to Rogers. His gashed body was found on November 9, 1995, on a perforated waterbed in his apartment in Bossier City, Louisiana. Henry Lee Lucas is an American serial killer, convicted of murder. He said he killed 300 people. But after verification, this figure was adjusted to 3 confirmed victims. Questioned on multiple occasions throughout his trial, Henry Lee Lucas will not stop confessing more and more murders. Thus Lucas will claim to have made 300 victims, then 600, and even 3,000. Justice then chose to take him seriously, taking him for a liar. In April 1984, during his trial, Henry Lee Lucas was tried only for 11 murders. Found guilty on each count, he received 10 life sentences and a death sentence for the 1979 murder of Deborah Jackson in Texas. This death sentence will then be commuted in June 1998 by the governor of Texas, George W. Bush. During this trial, Henry Lee Lucas returned to each of his confessions, declaring that he had committed only one murder, that of his mother. He will continue to proclaim his innocence throughout his imprisonment. Several years after his death, advances in DNA testing revealed that Lucas had not committed any of the murders he had confessed, and which were subsequently attributed to 20 different killers. Jody Ann Arias was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of her boyfriend, Travis Victor Alexander. His body is discovered in a shower by his friend at his home in Mesa, Arizona. Travis was stabbed 27 to 29 times. His throat was slit and he sustained a gunshot wound to the head. John Wayne Gacy Jr. is one of America's best-known serial killers. Nicknamed the Killer Clowns, in reference to his habit of dressing up as a clown to amuse children in hospitals. Nicknamed the Killer Clown in reference to his habit of dressing up as a clown to amuse children in the hospital. He committed his first murder on January 1, 1972 and began to recruit his main victims from his entourage by offering odd jobs to young people in his neighborhood. Most of its victims are also among its employers. His modus operandi is mainly to handcuff, torture, and rape them before disposing of the bodies. On December 21, 1972, the police arrested Gacy in his car and brought him home to carry out research on the disappearance of young men. 26 corpses were found, buried tied up, a tissue stuck in the mouth in the crawl space under his home. In Chicago, 3 others buried on his property, and the bodies of his last 4 victims recovered from the Des Plaines River near his home. He was indicted for the murder of 33 young men. Keith Jesperson is a Canadian serial killer who operated to the United States. He claims to have killed 185 people, but only 8 murders are attributed to him with certainty. He is nicknamed the Happy Face Killer because there was always a smiley face in the letters he sent to the media and to prosecutors. His first known victim was Tonja Bennett on January 23, 1990, near Portland, Oregon, USA. He introduced himself to Bennett at a bar and invited her to the house he was renting. He brought her home with the idea of having sex with her, and when Bennett refused, he proceeded to hit and beat her. Fearing that she would report him to the police, he then put his fist in her mouth and and killed her. On August 30, 1992, the unidentified body of a woman he raped and strangled was found near Blythe, California. He says that Jane Doe's name was Claudia. A month later, in Turlock, California, the body of Cynthia Lynn Rose was discovered. He claimed she was a sex worker who got into his truck at a truck stop while he was sleeping. And fourth victim was another sex worker, Lorianne Pentland of Salem, Oregon. In June 1993, another unidentified woman, a street person in Santa Ana, California, who he claimed was called Carla or Cindy, was one of his victims who was found. Police initially considered his death to be a drug overdose. Over a year later, in September 1994, another Jane Doe was found in Crestview, Florida. This person claims her name was Susanna. This person was arrested on March 30, 1995 for the Winningham murder. Perry Smith is an American criminal convicted of murdering Herbert, Bonnie, Nancy, and Kenyon Clutter, wealthy farmers, with the help of his accomplice Richard Hickok, nicknamed Dick, during the night of November 14 to 15, 1959. This crime was made famous by Truman Capote in his 1966 novel Cold Blood and the 1967 Richard Brooks film. Smith was hanged after Hickok, in alphabetical order. He died at 1:19 a.m. They entered the Clutter house through an unlocked door late in the evening of November 14, 1959, whereupon they murdered the 4 family members present, Herbert Clutter and his wife Bonnie, and their youngest children, Nancy and Kenyon, to rob them. Richard Ramirez, and nicknamed the Night Stalker, is an American serial killer who raged in Los Angeles and San Francisco in 1985. He was sentenced to death for committing 11 rapes and 40 murders. Ramirez used to enter homes and then beat, rape, and sometimes kill women with a bullet to the head. Richard Ramirez thought he was a demon, deciding the life and death of everyone. He was a Satanist, and in the courtroom of the tribunal in 1988, he had drawn pentacles on the palms of each of his hands and even said, "It's nothing you'll understand, but I do have something to say. In fact, I have a lot to say, but now is not the time or place. I don't know why I'm wasting my time or breath. But what the hell? As for what is said of my life, there have been lies in the past and there will be lies in the future. I don't believe in the hypocritical, moralistic dogma of this so-called civilized society. I need not look beyond this room to see all the liars, haters, the killers, the crooks, the paranoid cowards, truly three methods of the hells, each one in his own legal profession. You maggots make me sick, hypocrites one and all, and no one knows that better than those who kill for policy clandestinely or openly, as do the governments of the world, which kill in the name of God and country or for whatever reason they deem appropriate. I don't need to hear all of society's relationalizations. I've heard them all before, and the fact remains that what is. You don't understand me. You are not expected to. You are not capable of it. I am beyond your experience. I am beyond good and evil. Legends of the night, not repeat, not the errors of the night prowler, and show no mercy. I will be avenged. Lucifer dwells within her soul. That's it. Richard Ramirez claimed to be listening repeatedly in his car to AC/DC's night prowler in search of his victims, and left a baseball cap marked with the band's logo at one of the crime scenes. Richard Ramirez is convicted of the murder of 13 people, but also of 5 attempted murders, 11 rapes and 14 aggravated theft with break and enter. Reno is a Taiwan-born U.S. citizen who carried out the shooting at Bard College, Salmons Rock, on December 14, 1992, in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. He murdered a student and teacher and injured 4 people before surrendering to the police. In 1999, Greg Gibson, father of Galen Gibson, one of Law's victims, wrote Gun Boys, a walkabout, his account of the shooting and its impact. This was the start of a regular correspondence between Gibson and Law. McWatters was sentenced to death for sexually assaulting and strangling 3 women during a 10-week period in 2004 in Florida. McWatters told detectives the 3 women died while he was having sex with them. Although he does not recall forgetting them. McWatters said of the murders, "I don't know how or why I did this. It's still a mystery to myself." hope you liked this video. Feel free to subscribe.
Bye bye! See you soon in your nightmare!